Hey everybody, let's take a look at the Emergent Writing assignment. You've already completed the oral language assignment and the Emergent Reading assignment. You're creating a small group lesson. You're using a template that I have provided for you, and you are plugging in young children's emergent literacy understandings and behaviors into this lesson plan. So the first thing that you need to do is you're preparing is locate your supporting documents. To complete this assignment, you're going to need these three documents: Young Children's Emergent Literacy Understandings and Behaviors, the TS Gold Objectives and Dimensions, and the activity templates. 2 copies, because you're doing one for primary grades and one for preschool. And also remember that if you cannot find these printed copies, you can locate these in modules in Canvas. It's the very first module titled Important Information, I believe, and you'll find all 3 of these in there. This is the section from Young Children's Emergent Literacy Understandings and Behaviors on Emergent Writing. Remember, the subcategories are here: the knowledge of words and letters, phonemic awareness, and print conventions. So you're going to select a subcategory and then a learning objective. So in mine, in just a second, you're going to see that I selected knowledge of words and letters, and then I also selected as my learning objective, writes invented words. So you'll select your own. So here is my example. Here's my literacy format. My category is emergent writing. My subcategory is knowledge of words and letters. I selected primary grades because I was interested in like first grade, kindergarten, first grade. And then I chose for my learning objective, writes invented words. Here's my description of the activity. And I went ahead and wrote this as a activity objective. So I used my audience behavior condition. So the audience is the children, and the behavior is will write letters to family members. And the condition is using a combination of invented and conventional spelling on stationery designed by the class with stamps and markers. And so you could see there's my completed learning objective. Then I gave a description detail. I like to think of these lesson plan formats as something you could leave for a substitute teacher so they know exactly what you're supposed to do, what you're going to do, what the plan is. So I said, as a large group table activity, the children will design stationery, including paper and envelopes, to use to send letters to family members. The teacher will provide the materials and will request families to send names and addresses of special loved one. And then my concrete items I just listed. You don't have to go into too much detail. It does say what will you do with them. I think it's pretty obvious. So markers, crayons, pencils, pens, stamps, ink pads, stickers, a variety of paper. Because I already wrote what students would be doing in my detailed description of the activity, I didn't need to go into too much detail in concrete items. But if you have a random item and it's not clear what it's used for, you may want to describe it here. The next section is the adaptation section, and this is where you're going to differentiate your instruction. You're going to state how you'll make this activity simple for children that are in need of a little more assistance, and how you'll make this activity more complex for the children who are ready for a little bit more. So for the simple way to, oh, you can see all my typos. That's okay. So for simple, the children will draw and label parts of their picture using initial sounds, and the teacher will take dictation of the child's spoken words. The child and teacher will work together to decode, so that means to sound out, words in the message. And so for this, really, you're still engaging the child in the drawing and labeling of their picture. They draw the picture, they label the parts of their picture with an initial sound, and that might be all they're ready for. But you don't want to stop there. If the purpose of this is to write a letter to a family member, take the child's dictation. They can still tell you what you want, what they want you to write down. And then you could work together to read those words, to sound them out. That way they're still getting plenty of really rich instruction and practice. I know you're probably thinking, how are you going to do this with so many kids? Trust me, it works. They've done it. Just it takes time to really focus on kids that need that extra support. And then for complex, so children will draw and label their own picture using invented spelling. So they'll take the time to draw their picture, but then actually ask them to label their pictures and find as many letter sounds in their pictures as they can. And then at the bottom, have them actually write their note, and they can use invented spelling and probably some conventional spelling. There's words that, like high frequency words that kids already know how to write and spell in kindergarten. They're learning a whole bunch of them. So encourage children to use those high frequency words in their note. As well as using some of the invented spelling from their pictures. Now they're combining two tasks. Write a note about the picture that you drew. And then don't stop there. Have the child read the letter to a peer and then to you before you seal the envelope so that they get that practice of sharing their message with someone else. And this really reinforces that writing has a purpose and a meaning. So the teaching strategies gold, or my teaching strategies, objectives and dimensions for learning for this activity, there could be two. There could be 16B, which is uses letter sound knowledge. So if they're labeling their picture, then they're using their letter sound knowledge. And 19B, obviously, they are writing to convey meaning. They're writing a note to their loved ones. So this is my example. You can see it's not super complex. It's a simple activity, a shared activity of writing notes to loved ones, but it still has a really important purpose and an opportunity to really hone in on children's writing development. Let's take a look at what's to come, just so we're all on the same page about things that are coming due. So here's some reminders. Your child assessment of emergent literacy is due the next time that we meet. And remember, this is where you need to locate a child and do 3 of the 5 emergent literacy assessments with them and write that paragraph about the experience. If you missed class last week, you need to look this up in the assignments tab or in the modules tab, wherever you choose to find it. Print out the packet. Review all of it. It is step by step broken down what you need to do for this assignment. It is completely written out for you. And you need to locate a child that is no younger than 2.5 and no older than 5 that is not already reading. And you will conduct 3 assessments of child emergent literacy, but it must not feel like a test, so you need to read all of the assessments really, really well. Your curriculum notebook is due March 9th. Please know that I will have all of your papers back to you that when we meet next time on March 2nd. What I'd like you to do is choose your favorite of your emergent literacy activities. So oral language, emergent reading, or emergent writing. Choose your very favorite activity to type up and make copies for all of your peers. That way in your notebook, you will have a wealth of activities that you could take to lab school with you and you could take to your job with you. Your small group lesson and teaching prop, I did some extra highlighting there, is due March 9th also. I will model that in class for you on March 2nd. You are kind of doing the same thing as these lessons that we've been planning. You're going to make 2, but you're also going to make the teaching prop and materials to use with that lesson, and you will be modeling it for the class. And then March 16th, the flannel board story is due. We will talk about that and I will model it for you. And then on March 16th, also the portfolio assignment is due. And I will also model and talk about that in class on the 9th. For the flannel board story, if you want to look ahead, you may open that up and read all about the assignment. Under the assignments tab, there is a description of it if you wanted to work ahead. Okay, everybody, have a great Friday. I hope everyone stays safe. Sorry for not coming in. It's just things are pretty dicey out here in Kitsap County, and the schools have closed for Friday, and so I will be home, and we'll see what happens. So stay safe and stay warm. Thanks, everybody. All right, bye-bye.